So let's check out what I just sneaked out of Dogtown. Okay, this is, I think, an up-armored Colby. Yeah, I think it should be Colby. Because you can see here, it has that militarized up-armored look. So for example, over there, that car that just parked, that's a Galena Gecko. That's a Galena that was up-armored by, I think, nomads is the called in the game. And that has more Mad Max improvised appearance, where the stuff is bolted on. And the cars are more like supercars and some armor to it. Oh, this car has an entirely different style. It looks like it was up-armored in workshops that have more precise machining tools than the nomads have. I think it's a beautiful distinction in this game because the game already had the Mad Max nomad stuff, but this is more like a cleaner, manufactured-looking up-armoring. So you can see here the spaced armor plating. You get the protection of that on the rear axle too, and on the rear of the car. What I do not like is that the overall texture of the car, it has this weird undefined plastic appearance. Like it doesn't look like aluminum or steel or anything. But the overall structure is beautiful. I think they have really experienced product or industrial designers who make the cars for this game. I think it's a really beautiful distinction because other game developers would have just went for one Mad Max style for the up-armored stuff and left it. But they went through the extra effort of making the Dogtown vehicles be their own class of different up-armor. As you can see by the appearance of the vehicle, it's going to be a lot slower than the Galena Gecko. Because the Gecko is, it's partly a supercar because it's extremely, it has a much faster acceleration than a normal Galena, for example. But on this car, it's different. It's all about armor and protection. Okay, let's take a look from the inside. Look at this. It's one of the most amazing cockpits in this game. And again, the developer, they put the effort into to not just retexture it, but really remodel the structure of the dashboard and put up these up-armored pieces like the support struts and all that extra electronic stuff in it. The really cool detail is that reflection of the caging from the outside. I think it's an artistic compromise that the caging cannot be seen from the inside because you would have a really hard time seeing it off the car. However, they still left the shadowing of it in. I think it's for two reasons. First, so you still get that feeling of protection, and second, so a graphics card is something to do. Okay, I think, yeah, it just looks beautiful. However, for the driving test, I actually have to switch more to nighttime because, as you can see, the auto exposure makes it too bright. So I'm going to switch to nighttime. Let's drive it around a bit. Okay, I'm going to drive it. Let's drive it somewhere here to the solar plant. Now, the engine sound is nice in this car. Only problem is, why is it so dark in here? What time? It shouldn't be that dark. Wait a minute. Oh, the lights on. Actually, it shouldn't be that dark in the car. Something's off with the lighting. Yeah, I'll switch to some morning time so we can see at least something. You know, it's not too bright. So as you can see with this car, the engine sound is great. However, the gear switching is extremely violent. Not sure why the camera is twitching so hard. I guess it's probably to simulate that the clutch is a bit harder because it's so up-armored or something, but the camera shouldn't jerk around this much because you're just switching the gears. I think it's over-exaggerated. I think in the game code it's parameterized, like on how violent the gear switch has to be dependent on some gearbox settings, how much the camera is going to rock back and forward. I think it's over-exaggerated. But other than that, the car is really, like the engine sound is great. Now, you gotta be careful about the turn circle in this car. Like it takes a long time to actually turn with this car. Also, I recommend when you actually trying to brake with the car slowly, don't press on brake, just let go of the acceleration. Because this game unfortunately doesn't have a setting for how much pressure you apply to the brakes. So you just let go and it will automatically slow down. Also, as you can see, it accelerates really slow. And the handling is Imagine you take some rocks, put them in a potato sack, and then you throw that sack out of a window. It's about the elegance you get when you're driving this thing. But yeah, the thing is basically built for the interior of Dogtown, so it's everything went into the armor, nothing went into the acceleration. I think it's good like that because you already got the supercar Mad Max vehicles that have to drive long desert stretches, so they need more acceleration. But this car is all about protection because you're in Dogtown most of the time with that car. And it's also another purpose is that if you want to shoot from the inside of the car, which is a new feature in 2.0, is that you have a lot more protection, which means once you close the window again, it takes a lot of time for the enemies to get through the armor until the doors and fall off and the glass breaks before they get to you. So you're basically trading that fast acceleration from a Mad Max type nomad car with some protection to uncompromising protection. And now, steering is a bit stiffer as you drive faster, but that's a feature of 2.0 in all vehicles. I think it's a good thing. So you remain sensitive. It gives you control over, so you can still use sensitive steering when you're driving fast. Because a big problem with this game was earlier that it was really hard to do precise steering because it would be oversteering so much. So I have to do a hard turn. Notice here, the braking power is really low. The thing is, it's realistic because it's a civilian car that was up-armored for heavy combat use, which means it should have some quirks to it that make it hard to use. Because I said it in a previous car review too, the worst cars in those games are those that are balanced by Reddit feedback, because most players want to be able to drift and do anything they want with the car within 3 seconds of first playing it. Then you get really watered down driving experience. Because the point here is not to have the most responsive and easy to use car, it's to have the most realistic experience when you're driving it. Because this game is secretly a car driving simulator under all this cyber stuff. Okay, so again, it's an ideal car for Dogtown combat or if you have to do drive-by shootings against gangs, but yeah, for getting around it's quite slow, and I think the clutch is way too violent when you're switching around. I also recommend always play with first-person view, even if it's harder for you to drive until you learn it, because you're wasting so much of driving experience if you're driving from third person.